In case you're not keeping up, Daredevil canceled after 3 seasons, Luke Cage canceled after 2, but it's okay, here's season 4 of Fuller House. Oh, I'm sorry, last year had a season 3A and a season 3B, so this is season 5. On the last season, DJ ended up with her stalker Steve, and Kimmy is now a surrogate for her brother Ashton Kutcher Jr. and Stephanie. What will season 4 bring? Hopefully it all turns out to be in a snow globe that someone throws into a fire. Kimmy's brother Jimmy is a 30-year-old man who still believes in Santa Claus and even writes him letters. This guy's gonna be a parent. It's Christmas at the Fuller house. You can tell because the tree in their living room is the size as the one in Rockefeller Center. It's all like a big Hallmark Christmas movie. It's even got Max as the gay best friend. Oh, but Max is a grumpus this year because he misses his dead dad. They try to do this emotional scene between Max and DJ, but then they throw in a joke where Max says, "Why did this grief have to happen on Christmas? Why couldn't it have been my brother's birthday?" Oh, but Kimmy has sonar hearing now from being pregnant, and while watching a video with the kid's dead dad, she actually hears him over the phone say where there's some hidden presents in the house. And they find these hidden presents from their dead dad on a shelf above the washing machine. Guess they never looked there before. Plus, Stalker Steve comes back, sneaks into the house, stands behind DJ, and goes, "I'm standing right behind you right now." I'm only on episode 2, and so far there's been like 18 plugs for Blue Bloods. Is this show wanting me to watch a procedural instead? Hell, one of the previous seasons had Donnie Wahlberg as a guest star. Are these shows in cahoots with each other? Well, maybe murder would be funny here. The only funny joke in this episode is when they're all watching The Fault in Our Stars, and Jackson says, "I want what these two have," and Ramona says to him, "What, an incurable disease?" Fuller House! It makes cancer funny. Steve and DJ are on their first date since getting back together, in which they are stuck in traffic, and then randomly this La La Land-like musical number happens, featuring other people stuck in the traffic jam. I really hope the next episode is just like Moonlight. I completely forgot that at the end of last season, Danny Tanner moved back in with them. He hasn't been seen or really mentioned in this season until now. Where the hell was he at Christmas? Oh, but at the end of the episode, he gets his old talk show gig back with Becky and moves out of the house. Glad that this was a well-used plot point. DJ and Matt are still very mad at each other due to their breakup last season, so they try to ruin each other's animal clinic, and Matt accidentally pushes an old lady in a wheelchair out into traffic. What? Between this and the cancer joke, maybe the show should start going dark. But they make up at the end of the episode and even go back into business together. 'Tis the season for resolved plot points, and this episode was nothing like Moonlight. Steve and DJ celebrate their 2-week anniversary, cause that's a thing, in which Steve models their house after American Ninja Warrior, where DJ has to go through obstacles to get to him, who is spotlighted at the top of the stairs. I'm getting a hunch that Steve might be a little clingy. Granted, it was somebody else who gave him this idea, but that just makes him a fucking idiot. I hate this guy. I was only half paying attention to this episode because this was when my Chinese food came, which I always save for binge watching days. So, Fuller House bad, my favorite Chinese restaurant, China King, best in Springfield, 5 stars as always. I have a bunch of confidence that Jimmy is going to be a great dad. He keeps his life savings with him all the time in his back pocket. There's just a bunch of coins and a dirty sock. What does Stephanie see in this guy? Although maybe he just seems stable compared to Steve. Though DJ isn't much better because she tells him that he's not a real doctor simply because he's a podiatrist. If they made him a dermatologist, that'd be a great Seinfeld joke. Between ripping off the brother-sister surrogacy jokes from Friends and stopping Steve's wedding so they could be together, a la Niles, Daphne, and Donnie on Frasier, this show is all about ripping off the holy trinity of 90s sitcoms. It's worth noting that a portion of this episode takes place in an escape room, but sadly, it does not turn into a torture porn. Congratulations, Fuller House! After 4 seasons, you finally had one halfway decent episode. The girls have a ladies' night out, and they dress like Charlie's Angels to go on a 70s cruise, but then it turns out it's actually just a cruise for 70-year-olds. But then they do get involved with a mystery where they're looking for stolen diamonds, and it starts parodying Aaron Spelling like 70s procedurals. Lainey Kazan, Lindsay Wagner, and It's Lee Majors are also on this ship, where Lee says, don't worry, back in the 70s, everyone thought they were a detective. Meanwhile, back at home, Uncle Joey is back to babysit the kids, and Max says, we need to prank Uncle Joey. And Jackson goes, he's not our uncle though, he's just some guy. Thank you! I'm filled with more confidence about Jimmy being a great parent. Stephanie is at war with a competing clown named Sudsy, who it turns out is Jimmy's hero, to the point to where he still hires him for even his current birthdays. Stephanie, you're fucking someone with the mind of a 5-year-old. This episode is weird. Danny is told that he has to do a live on-air colonoscopy for Wake Up San Francisco, and they don't even ask him first. They just hand him a jug of colon cleanser and say, hey, clean yourself out, we're doing this tomorrow. What even is this show? John Stamos is back in this episode, in which he joins a mommy group and all of them want to bang him. Hey John, we want Uncle Jesse to be surrounded by all these hot moms who all want to fuck him. Well, okay, if you insist. There's actually one really funny line in this episode, which is clearly an ad-lib, where Stephanie says she had a girlfriend for 3 weeks, and the genuine reaction from everyone else in the shot is pretty humorous. So there you have it, folks. You want to save Fuller House? Toss out the script and have more jokes about cancer and dead old people. Plus, Jackson gets drunk at a party, so get the teens shit-faced too. Jimmy almost gets a word in, but then they give him a sponge to play with and he goes away. How does this guy wake up in the morning without breaking his neck? I'm glad they spent so much time getting DJ and Steve together. He's been on here a whole 2 or 3 times, and in this one he just spends teaching Jackson to drive. More time is spent with Max having a live on-air meltdown because his Rube Goldberg machine didn't work, and then he accidentally destroys the set. Everything is so relatable. Like when Fernando's mom mistakenly thinks that Kimmy is having an incestuous affair with her brother. What is this show? Jimmy doesn't know what elections are. He has tapes worth of elections and thinks that they're a television series, and he doesn't want it spoiled for him whether or not Gore wins. I hope this season ends with him eating dog shit. We get a special appearance from Josh Peck, who plays a millennial dad competing against Uncle Jesse, who doesn't know how these young people parent anymore. Isn't this a little like a sitcom he just had? It was like Grandfathered or something like that. Although in that show, did Stamos ever woo anyone in the playground by playing I Don't Want to Miss a Thing on a Schroeder piano? That happens. Oh, and Jimmy misses the false alarm about Kimmy going into labor because he was playing Pokemon Go. Everyone thinks that Jimmy might not be ready to be a parent yet. Oh really? You fucking think this didn't occur to you right after it was established that he still believes in Santa Claus? Sure, Stephanie could spend the episode teaching him basic things like addition and subtraction, but instead she takes out her anger by joining a dodgeball team. She turns out to be great at dodgeball, but then DJ joins the competing team so that she can tell Stephanie about Jimmy and then beats her. Because God fucking forbid somebody is better than DJ at something. And does it end with Jimmy becoming more responsible? It ends with him thinking Mrs. Doubtfire is real and in their house. So do with that information what you will. Not only is Dave Coulier back again, but he also directs this episode. I don't want to know what else he yells out when he says, "Cut!" It's the prom episode, so Jackson dresses up like a gorilla and hangs up a sign that says, "I'll go bananas if you be my prom mate." I don't like that because that's exactly what I would do. Ramoni's douchey ex-Popco is back, and I'm really scared they're gonna end up back together, mainly because the actor who plays this kid was the lead in One Nation Under God. Run, Ramona, run! You know what else I don't like? DJ stops Gia from drinking out of her flask when she's chaperoning the prom. This is fucking Fuller House, just let him drink. Is Kimmy having the baby? Oh, I think she is! But on his way to the hospital, Jimmy stops to get a sandwich first. Good thing there was that episode about him becoming more responsible. Jimmy is like a poor man's Joey Tribbiani. Joey is dumb, yes, but it's believable that he could function because he's a much better written character and a much better acted character as well. This episode, though, actually does make the Holy Chalupas line funny because Max says that he stopped saying it because it was one of the things that made Kimmy nauseous while she was pregnant. There is one part where they don't know where the doctor is, and Max says that he could step in because he's seen every episode of Grey's Anatomy. For a second, I thought Max was actually going to deliver this baby. He doesn't, though, because that would have been too clever. Plus, Jimmy proposes to Stephanie, and the twist at the end of the season is that he didn't use an onion ring. There's the typical problems with this season of Fuller House, mainly being the clashing of raunchy jokes with TGIF-style cheesiness that fucking crash and burn into each other every season. But one thing that has gotten better is Max. This character started out annoying as fuck, but then morphed into this old gay man cursed with being in the body of a 10-year-old and is annoyed as fuck at all of their cheesy sitcom bullshit. It's like he Freaky Friday'd with Leslie Jordan. I'm sure there's going to be a season 5. So in season 5, make the whole thing about Max being an elderly gay man who hates the fact that he's in a sitcom universe. And rate it TVMA. It's still gonna suck though. God damn.